It's so nice you dropped in.
Who are you?
Do you care?
Yeah.
How sad for you.
Am I dead?
Not yet, Daniel. It was a long way down.
I did fall. Forever.
It's today. I'm running through the woods trying to find Stella. It's tomorrow. I'm running through the woods and stopping to repair a ladder trying to find Stella. It's the day after. I'm running through the woods and mixing potions in somewhat intriguing ways. Stella also factors in somewhere. I'm not really sure anymore. Someday You'll Return is as much about finding Stella as it is tolerating her father Daniel as he curses, bumbles, and hilariously oscillates between tough guy rhetoric and incompetent stooge.
Get away from me. I gotta get down fast before they come for me. I don't want to end up like the deer. What the hell?
Daniel is the protagonist, by the way, so we're already off to a great start. Billed as a psychological horror game, Someday You'll Return sees Daniel venturing into the forest to find his daughter, Stella. Immediately, Daniel paints himself as possessive, self-absorbed, cynical, and rude. Apparently, this isn't the first time Stella has run away. However, you'd think, regardless of how many times she has, that our hero would have some genuine concern for his daughter who's gone missing. Perhaps to make him that much more sympathetic, but alas. As Daniel ventures deeper into the forest, things aren't quite what they seem. From the outset, he investigates a strange red door into an underground complex and comes face to face with the beast. Things get a lot weirder afterwards as he falls into a chasm, meets a young girl who's supposedly a younger version of Stella, mocking him in a swamp, and other such oddities. How much of this is in his head? How much of this is real? Despite a solid opening, one that evokes mystery and intrigue, the actual story begins to grate as soon as you control Daniel. The writing, with regards to the dialogue and overall delivery, makes it hard to get invested. It's one thing to have an unlikable protagonist who's probably done some nefarious deeds in the past, besides being a jerk to his likely ex-wife Ida. It's quite another to just be downright annoying at every single turn. Sometimes Daniel will tell his wife to stay out of all of this while he finds his daughter, since it's what he does and is hilariously bad at. Other times he'll remember how spiders gave him grief, and upon creating a torch proceeds to gleefully burn said spiders. This wouldn't be a weird tangent to go on if you know he wasn't after some stranger who mysteriously disappeared moments earlier. At another point, the heaviness of finding his daughter perhaps finally sets in. Daniel arrives at a tap to wash his hands before cheerfully, and I mean cheerfully, proclaiming,
Refreshing.
While one has to make do with poor material, the voice acting doesn't do any favors for the supposedly tense atmosphere. Try not to laugh when Daniel finally arrives at the camp and calls out to Stella, saying he's come to take her home, much like how Ricky announced his presence on I Love Lucy. In terms of gameplay, you'll spend a good portion of your time just walking or sprinting through the woods, waiting for something, anything substantial to happen. Sometimes you'll stop to take calls or check messages when you're not looking for items. At other points, the monotony is broken up by repairing or crafting rudimentary items and brewing potions via herbalism, with the latter being introduced in Chapter 2. Frantic chases, navigating creepy caves, snipping wires, it's all fairly routine stuff that fails to really entice you. The crafting doesn't offer much complexity. Instead of, say, creating or finding tools naturally in the forest, Daniel very conveniently receives his toolset and gets to work hammering, cutting, and screwing things without much issue. You'll place wooden pieces on a broken ladder and need something to keep them in place. Using the hammer magically materializes some nails and voila, ladder repaired, achievement unlocked. The same goes with crafting a torch. All of the ingredients are just conveniently located in one place without any need for actual investigative work. It only serves to disincentivize exploration all the more. Then again, the system barely has the time to shine as is. I found the herbalism system to be fairly decent, though again unspectacular. Gathering different herbs, cutting or crushing parts and mixing them in different ways to brew different potions was fairly simple but neat. It was still pretty situational and really only stands out given how dreary and drab the rest of the gameplay really is. There are some gripes to be had though. Why do I need to gather 2 copies of the same plant for 2 leaves? Why, despite having such an extensive herbalism kit, can I only hold 2 of one plant at a time? Why is there a potion that helps me locate other potions more easily, which is pointless since every herb has a telltale twinkle anyway? While it feels more interactive than the crafting system, herbalism still doesn't offer much to get invested in. Oh, and climbing is also a thing. There isn't really much else to say about it, sadly. In terms of visual design, the lighting, foliage, and atmospherics work to create a tone that's more dark fantasy than straight-up horror. It's well done if somewhat generic. Performance is also fine, though being able to customize certain aspects like anti-aliasing and frame rates on PC beyond adjusting the quality from low to ultra would have been nice. You'll be spending quite a lot of time in the forest, so it's a good thing that the environmental design is decent. Unfortunately, there's very little reason to go out of your way. For the most part, you'll navigate preset paths at a brisk pace, rummaging through the narrative and attempting to escape Daniel's personality whenever possible. It's mechanically similar to other first-person narrative walking sims, but fails to really stand out in its own right. That's because the plot, visual design, and environments fail to build an effective ambiance. There should be a pervading air of mystery, if not a sense of dread as to what's happened or going to happen. Instead, either due to the lack of urgency, shabby performances, poor writing, or lackluster gameplay, Someday You'll Return feels like it's spinning its wheels. You wait for something, anything interesting to happen. When something does, it underdelivers, but you can't really get mad. Instead, you resign yourself to seeing what the next set piece has to offer, wash, rinse, call out to Stella, get mad at your ex-wife, and repeat. Someday You'll Return seems to have all the pieces in place for an effective horror experience, be it an intriguing setting and decent visuals to unique gameplay systems. Instead, it struggles as a first-person adventure game, rife with boring moments, annoying dialogue, and cliched sequences. So much could have been done in terms of environmental storytelling, but it feels relegated to documents and books that aren't all that interesting, written by people that you don't know about things you struggle to care about. Keep your expectations low and you might find the story to be a worthwhile distraction. But if you're seeking something more, then opt for a real-life hike in the woods instead of this. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.